الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على خاتم الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين وأما بعد. We are still with Surat Al-Araf, Surat Al-Araf, and we address the verse that explains what Al-Araf, the mountains between Jannah and Nar, where people are held, and they neither are allowed to go here nor there. And we went over the verses therein, and today we want to go into a little bit more advanced verse of the surah. We are at verse 158. I'll just recite the verse inshallah and then hopefully try and make a translation for it. And we mentioned the surrounding circumstances that accompanied the revelation of such a verse. يقول المولى جل وعلا: أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. قل يا أيها الناس إني رسول الله إليكم جميعا الذي له ملك السماوات والأرض لا إله إلا هو يحيي ويميت فآمنوا بالله ورسوله النبي الأمي الذي يؤمن بالله وكلماته واتبعوه لعلكم تهتدون. طيب, the verse is addressing الناس. يا أيها الناس. قل say O Muhammad. It's always when you see قل in the Quran Kareem, the person addressed is always Muhammad because the revelation is upon him alayhi salatu wasalam. So when we read it as قل يا محمد. يا أيها الناس, address الناس. There are two addresses in the Quran like we mentioned before. Sometimes you see يا أيها الناس, sometimes you see يا أيها الذين آمنوا. مش كده؟ When it is يا أيها الناس, it is a general command. Means it's for everybody, for all mankind. However, when it is يا أيها الذين آمنوا, it is specific to mu'mineen. And usually when there is such a start, يا أيها الذين آمنوا, then there is always a command that follows. That applies to mu'mineen. مش كده؟ يا أيها الذين آمنوا قوا أنفسكم وأهليكم نار مثلا أقيموا الصلاة وآتوا الزكاة. All of these commands that come follow يا أيها الذين آمنوا. But the generic command يا أيها الناس is for all. In this case, he is telling everybody, and that's the idea behind the message of the Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam, isn't it? He is not addressing a sect or a segment of the society and that's it. No, he is addressing everybody, right? He is addressing Kuffar Quraysh. He is addressing those who believed in him, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. He is addressing everybody. Not only that, he is addressing people from near or far. He is addressing people who are Arab and non-Arab. مش كده? And there is a hadith that we're going to get to inshallah that says that. So the command is قل يا أيها الناس إني رسول الله إليكم جميعا. To all of you, I am a messenger of Allah to all of you people. الذي له ملك السماوات والأرض. He who holds in his hand the heavens and earth. لا إله إلا هو يحيي ويميت. There is only but him as an ilah, as a worthy deity of worship. And then he puts an attribute that nobody can challenge. مش كده يا شيخ علي؟ يحيي ويميت. يحيي ويميت. Can anybody else claim that? Well, someone did claim that. ألم ترى الذي حاج إبراهيم في ربه أن آتاه الله الملك إذ قال إبراهيم ربي الذي يحيي ويميت قال إيه؟ أنا أحيي وأميت. طيب, it's a play on words here because يعني يحيي ويميت in this case is just a matter of technicality. He got two people from prison, one who was condemned to death, and he gave him his liberty, and then he got somebody else who was not supposed to die and he killed him. يبقى هو يحيي ويميت ولا لا؟ Well, from his limited sight, that makes him say أنا أحيي وأميت. But that's a hollow argument, يعني منطق متهافت in Arabic they say. Why? Because it didn't stand to the test of logic. The argument was completely aborted by the following statement from Ibrahim. قال إبراهيم إيه؟ إن الله يأتي بالشمس من المشرق فأتي بها من المغرب فبهت الذي كفر. Okay? You claiming that you are able to give life and death? طيب, Allah brings it from the east, the sun. Let you show us how you can bring it from the west. فبهت الذي كفر, meaning he was stunned. It's a very short argument. That doesn't take long يعني, to diffuse that matter of يحيي ويميت. مش كده؟ So لا إله إلا هو يحيي ويميت فآمنوا بالله ورسوله. Then you shall believe in Allah and His Messenger عليه الصلاة والسلام. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives him an attribute, النبي الأمي. النبي الأمي. Al-Ummi is somebody who does not know how to read or write. And by the way, there is a very distinct linguistic difference between when you say Ummi and versus Jahil. Sometimes they are used interchangeably, but no, not in the Quran al-Kareem. Not in the Quran al-Kareem. Because Ummi does not necessarily imply ignorance. Ummi just means does not write and read, but nonetheless may have knowledge. مش كده? What if the knowledge is coming from whom? عليه القدير سبحانه وتعالى. يعني what is the point in Surat Al-Kahf when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us about Musa والخضر. وأتيناه من لدنا علما. وأتيناه من لدنا علما. مش كده? Meaning what? Meaning that the know-how, the knowledge that Khidr has is not knowledge that is acquired. It's not knowledge that you can teach. يعني I can go to Zaytuna and sign up for a class in fiqh, right? على المذاهب الأربعة. And I study, I learn. خلاص. تمام? But this is ilm that is يعني acquired. Al-Khidr did not acquire the ilm. The ilm was given to him by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this is why when he acts, Musa يعني finds it quite يعني inexplicable. يعني you do this to the ship, you do this to the young boy, and you do that to the world. يعني all of these Musa على نبينا وعليه السلام, he is not a lightweight prophet or messenger. One of the five أولي العزم يعني but nonetheless when it comes to العلم اللدني, this is the ilm that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant. And فآمنوا بالله ورسوله النبي الأمي. Indeed, he doesn't read or write. By the way, on some accounts, some يعني seerah texts say that later on in his life, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he acquired even that knowledge. It doesn't really make any difference. But it was imperative that at the time of al-Ba'as, al-Risala, that there would be no possibility of claiming that this is something that he read or was taught elsewhere, because they know 40 years of his age was in Mecca, herding sheep and doing this and that, right? And taking the care of his wife's business, Sittina Khadija radhiyallahu anha. For they know he did not study under any scholar. He did not travel to to meet somebody to give him that's it. But it was actually imperative that at Ba'ath he would be Nabi Ummi. Subhanak Allahumma Rabbi. On one occasion, and that's because of the linguistic lack of appreciation, I was saying Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad al-Nabi al-Ummi, and a lady in the audience told me, why do you call him أمي. As if this is a sort of a demeaning attribute. And I explained, I said, you think that Ummi means ignorant, but it's not. It means this. And not only do we say Allahumma salli ala Muhammad al-Nabi al-Ummi out of our own whims, it is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who called him that in Surat Al-Araf and elsewhere. الذين آمنوا بالله فآمنوا بالله ورسوله النبي الأمي. That's a mark of validity of his message, inshallah. الذي يؤمن بالله وكلماته واتبعوه لعلكم تهتدون. واتبعوه, and you shall follow him so that you may, inshallah, be on the righteous path. Right? لعلكم تهتدون. In the Quran al-Kareem, there are some words that may be used by us in our regular prose that mean differently when they are used in the Quran al-Kareem. When Allah says, for example, عسى الله أن يرحمكم مثلا, عسى الله أن يرحمكم مثلا يا شيخ عبد. This عسى in the Arabic language carries the possibility, maybe. مش كده? It's maybe. Maybe Allah forgives you. But it also could mean maybe not. But when Allah uses عسى, it is always imperative. When Allah says عسى الله أن كذا وكذا, then that is affirmative. That is always affirmative. This is why the ulama of the Quran, they tell you كل عسى في القرآن واجبة. كل عسى في القرآن واجبة. You see, meaning it's always affirmative because it's coming from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If I say مثلا لعلي أراك غدا, that is acceptable in our language. Maybe I see you tomorrow because I may not be here tomorrow. مش كده؟ But with Allah al-Ali al-Qadir, the ability is always there. Qadir. He is always capable of instilling his will subhanahu wa ta'ala. فلعلكم تهتدون. That's why. This لعل is the same way as عسى in this case. If you follow him, لعلكم تهتدون really means that you will be led to the right path. inshallah. اللهم اجعلنا من المهتدين ولا تجعلنا من الضالين. So again, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is ordering Nabi to deliver the message to all people, الناس at large. Black, white, red, yellow, men, women, Arab, Ajam, الناس. And that is really a privilege that no other messenger had had. No other messenger had had. Rasulullah ilaykum jami'an, to all of you. Right. The occasion of the revelation was such that Abu Darda narrates. He says that Abu Bakr wa Umar, Ridwanullah alayhim, wa ala sahaba ajma'in, they had a scuffle. They had a verbal exchange. And by the way, we should not be surprised that something like that happens, because the Sahaba are nonetheless human after all. And what goes on human goes on them too. They may get mad, they may disagree, and all of that happens. Sayyidina Abu Bakr somehow made Sayyidina Umar angry. He made him angry. Umar left him and walked away. He noticed, of course, that he had upset Umar. So Abu Bakr followed him and kept asking him for forgiveness. And Umar would not take any of that until he reached his own home, Umar, and he went inside and he just shut the door, in Abu Bakr's face. فأبو بكر الصديق goes to Nabi عليه الصلاة والسلام, and Umar later on comes and says, يعني يا رسول الله, I have this issue يعني with Abu Bakr and this happened, and he explains. And the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam was angry actually. He was angry. And he said that يعني Umar, you took the feud too far. No? You carried a grudge unnecessarily. غامر, فقد غامر. That's the expression that the Nabi used. And then he said, and he sided with Abu Bakr. To the extent that Abu Bakr Siddiq, Ridwanullah alayhi, noticing that, he went back to Nabi and he said, Ya Rasulullah, Wallahi inni lahu la azlam. It was me who did him wrong, Ya Rasulullah. Don't come against him. شوف الصحابة. فالنبي says what? He says, leave me with my companion, على أبو بكر Leave me with my, اتركوا لي صاحبي. Leave me with my companion. He is the one, when I came to you with a message, you all denied me, and you all disbelieved in me. And he was the one who believed in my message, when all the rest disbelieved in it. فhe sided with Abu Bakr Siddiq. And it's a strange hadith, but it is a sahih. Surprisingly, it is nowhere to be found except in the Bukhari. Suffice it to say that that's a good enough reference for hadith. But in Farad bi al-Bukhari, which is not happen in too many hadith, by the way. Abu Musa al-Ash'ari Ridwanullah alayhi says, قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم أعطيت خمسا. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had given me 5 things. بعثت إلى الأحمر والأسود. I've been sent to the red and black, meaning to all mankind. وجعلت لي الأرض مسجدا وطهورا. And the earth at large is given to me as a masjid. I can pray anywhere. This is exactly what we do. And you don't have to come to the masjid. If you are at work, you can spread your mat, and in the office do it, or wherever you are, in the park, do it anywhere. مسجدا وطهورا. مش كده? What is طهورا? طهورا from طهارة How is that, ya Mr. Ibrahim?
Purity.
Purity. What does it mean? وجعلت لي الأرض مسجدا وطهورا. فهمنا مسجدا. We understand how is the earth at large a masjid for me, for Muslimin. How is it طهورا? How is the purification? How is it the purification, ya Sheikh? Allah يفتح عليك. One word, التيمم. مش كده? When you don't find water, you can still purify yourself and get ready for salah through الأرض. Through الأرض itself. وجعلت لي الأرض مسجدا وطهورا وأحلت لي الغنائم ولم تحل لمن كان قبلي. I was allowed to take a share of the spoils of war, which was not happening to his predecessor messengers. Only him, alayhi salatu wassalam. And how much, what percentage is it that is set aside from al-ghanaim to Nabi alayhi salatu wassalam? How much is it?
20%.
What?
20%?
20% al-khums, مش كده? al-khums, 1/5. 1/5 is set aside. طيب. وأحلت لي الغنائم ولم تحل لمن كان قبلي ونصرت بالرعب مسيرة شهر. And I was victorious by fear after having marched for a whole month. What is this referring to, Mr. Shakib? The cold is getting its better of you, طيب. Tabuk. ليه بقى؟ Why, Arham?
Because the enemy fled.
Absolutely. In Tabuk. And by the way, what is the characteristic of Tabuk? في غزوات النبي عليه الصلاة والسلام. It is what?
غزوة العسرة.
أيوة العسرة. And the last of his غزوات صلى الله عليه وسلم. The last of his غزوات. Because it came late, I believe it was in the 8th year of Hijrah. He died at year 10 of Hijrah صلى الله عليه وسلم. And al-usra meaning the hardship. that Amr is mentioning now. And that is because we all know that Tabuk is up there towards Sham, and it's a big distance, and it was in the summertime, very bad yani, weather. Not only that, that year was not a good year for Muslimin even. Yani, money was tight. But to prepare the army in its own self is a big ordeal. But it had been a very difficult ghazwa. But, and I think we shall address that in Al-Anfal, inshallah. Al-Anfal, inshallah. And therein, there is a mention about those people who stayed behind. وعلى الثلاثة الذين خلفوا. We talk about that, inshallah, when we reach. But for now, we say that it was a hard ghazwa. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, out of His mercy, He, after the army walks up a whole month to where the battleground is, their enemy, which were in room at this point, the enemy flees. The enemy flees, subhanallah. وَنُصِرْتُ بِالرُّعْبِ مَسِيرَةَ شَهْرٍ. I was given victory by Allah instilling fear into the hearts of my enemies after having marched for a whole month. وَأُعْطِيتُ الشَّفَاعَةِ. Allahu Akbar. وَأُعْطِيتُ الشَّفَاعَةِ. And I have been granted intercession, شفاعة. وَلَيْسَ مِن نَبِيٍّ إِلَّا وَقَدْ سَأَلَ الشَّفَاعَةِ. You see? Every prophet and messenger did ask Allah for a shafa'ah. And Allah reserved that privilege, high privilege, to An-Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam alone. Alayhi salatu wa sallam. Shafa'ah, intercession. He will intercede. And he says, I did that, and I kept it to the day of judgment. Yani, it will not use it just loosely in the dunya. La. He will keep it to the day of judgment for those of my ummah who لمن مات من أمتي ولم يشرك بالله شيئا. يعني he will reserve it to those who die without يعني association in their worship, but they have a lot of sins back. They have a lot of sins, so they need that push from him sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And for that, Shafa'at al-Nabi actually was a subject of debate of a lot of scholars from that early on till the very day now. Today they keep telling you that also. And يعني Shafa'a is only in al-Akhirah, and you cannot say يعني seek Shafa'a bin Nabi because this is, you can only seek Allah's and all of these things. But these are matters that يعني we can let aside for now. But on a personal note, يتشفع بالنبي حيا وميتا. يعني there is no harm there. And that's the majority, by the way, of Ahl Sunnah. The majority of Ahl Sunnah, a small group of Salaf, they say you should not. You should only say seek Allah's. طيب. And by the way, when Allah says An-Nabi al-Ummi, this is how Nabi alayhi salam was mentioned in the early books. In the early books, they describe him as such. So that description is quite befitting there. So that is the verse 158 of Surat Al-Araf. And then we have yet another group of verses, inshallah. Maybe we can go through them as well, and then we conclude. And these are verses 175 through 177, 175, 76, 77. And they read as follows. وَاتْلُ عَلَيْهِمْ نَبَأَ الَّذِي آتَيْنَاهُ آيَاتِنَا فَانْسَلَخَ مِنْهَا فَأَتْبَعَهُ الشَّيْطَانُ فَكَانَ مِنَ الْغَاوِينَ وَلَوْ شِئْنَا لَرَفَعْنَاهُ بِهَا وَلَكِنَّهُ أَخْلَدَ إِلَى الْأَرْضِ وَاتَّبَعَ هَوَاهُ فَمَثَلُهُ كَمَثَلِ الْكَلْبِ إِنْ تَحْمِلْ عَلَيْهِ يَلْهَثْ أَوْ تَتْرُكْهُ يَلْهَثْ ذلك مثل القوم الذين كذبوا بآياتنا فاقصص القصص لعلهم يتفكرون ساء مثلا القوم الذين كذبوا بآياتنا وأنفسهم كانوا يظلمون. That's a group of verses together. واتلو عليهم, tell them يا محمد, recite upon them يا محمد نبأ الذي آتيناه آياتنا فانسلخ منها فأتبعه الشيطان فكان من الغاوين. Tell them about that man who we gave our ayat, our signs. He had the signs. Nonetheless, he went back on that. He went back on that. فأتبعه الشيطان, and the shaitan followed him thereupon. فكان من الغاوين, and he went astray. That's a very specific situation. Somebody who Allah had given or granted a lot of ayat and knowledge, and he let it go to waste. And went the wrong way, the wrong path. ولكنه أخلد إلى الأرض واتبع هواه, and he followed his whims, his own mind. فمثله كمثل الكلب إن تحمل عليه يلهث أو تتركه يلهث. And this is exactly an example of like a dog. If you تحمل عليه, meaning you approach him or you come upon him, he will pant, or if you leave him alone, he will still pant. He is in this state whether something is happening or nothing. And there's been a lot of talk about this specific simile, we'll get to it inshallah in a second. ذلك مثل القوم الذين كذبوا بآياتنا. This is the example of those who disbelieved in our signs that we have sent them. فاقصص القصص لعلهم يتفكرون. So ya Muhammad, tell them these stories, maybe they go back to the righteous path and think about things. ساء مثلا القوم الذين كذبوا بآياتنا. It's the worst example that we give for those who disbelieve in our signals. وأنفسهم كانوا يظلمون, and those who do themselves injustice. وأنفسهم كانوا يظلمون. طيب, when it comes to talking about الأمم السابقة, people, this is somebody in the past, رجل من بني إسرائيل, someone from Bani Israel in the past. He's not a contemporary to the time of the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. In such situations, you will always find that there is going to be more than one take on the personality therein. It is not unique. You will find some scholars say this is such and such, and somebody else will say no, this is someone else, and that is no exception, right? That's no exception, and that is inevitable when it comes to as-sabiqi, when you talk about previous. So in this case, Abdullah ibn Mas'ud says this is a man from Bani Israel, and his name was Bal'am ibn Ba'ura, a man from Bani Israel. Ibn Abbas, he says no, it is his name was Saifi ibn Rahib. It doesn't matter. They have sources, each has their sources, and they look into the books of the predecessors and they find reference to this or that. The important thing is that that man was given Ismullah al-Akbar, the name, the biggest name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When we say Ismullah al-Akbar, there is a name that by which if Allah is asked, He will give. الذي إذا سئل به أعطى. Ismullah al-Akbar. And this name is kept secret, we don't know. We know the 99 names of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It embodies Ismullah al-Akbar, but we don't know which one is that. It was not disclosed to us. طيب. He was living in Bayt al-Maqdis at the time. Ibn Abbas, at another occasion, he says he was from Yemen. Again, it doesn't really matter. The idea is the essence of the story that follows. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave him that very important thing. to the extent that his da'wah was always accepted by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. His da'wah was always accepted by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Malik ibn Dinar, not a Sahabi now, but Tabi'in, he says that he was at the time of Musa, and Musa had sent him to Madian so that he can explain the deen of Musa to the Qawm Madian at the time. When he goes there, he is being bribed and he converts to whatever these people are. So again, a situation wherein he had the ayat and he let it down. Whichever the case may be, again, there is a long story about how he was, his wife knew that he had this gift of being accepted in his dua, so she asks him to make a dua for her, that she would be the most beautiful woman around, and he does make the dua, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grants her that. Again, it's a long story, but it's again a sidetrack. But for purposes of completion, that is one of the narrations. So he makes her that way, he makes her dua, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes her most beautiful. But when that happens, that woman starts looking down on him, he's not good enough for her, right? So he uses a second da'wah, and Rabbana brings it back down to a dog. And then the people, her kids say, how do you do that? Then he makes the third da'wah to bring her back to what she was, and then he uses the three da'wah that he was given to be in the same place that he started. That's one of the narrations. Wow. The woman's name, by the way, in reference is called Al-Basus. The one that we feel is most comforting to the understanding is the one about Ibn Mas'ud that we mentioned earlier on. رجل من بني إسرائيل اسمه بلعم ابن باورة. طيب. It's a big loss that you are given the knowledge and given the message, and then you let it go. It's a big loss. If somebody doesn't know, مثلا, we say okay, but he didn't have the knowledge. If he has the knowledge, he would follow Surat Al-Araf.
Can we say that about Ulama Sultan?
Ulama Sultan? You want to politicize this session, ya Shakib, right?
No, but that's what you're saying.
Nah.
So they're given ilm and everything.
Absolutely, and they sell it for cheap, for dunya, مش كده? For dunya يصير. طيب, you're absolutely right then, in that regard. طيب.
Allah.
We said about فمثله كمثل الكلب إن تحمل عليه يلهث وإن تتركه يلهث. In one of the narrations they say that as a punishment from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he made this man he made him in such a way that his mouth was always open and his tongue was always the same way that the dog looks, and it's always patting. So he took the image of that.
I don't know, Sheikh, but is the ayah, there's an ayah in the Quran, right? Allah said that he turned some people into apes, and so does that ayah in any way refer to that?
It could be.
Okay.
It could be. It's applicable. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when he says فَقْصُصِ الْقَصَصَ لَعَلَّهُمْ يَتَفَكَّرُونَ, he said, Ya Muhammad, tell them these stories, tell Bani Israel these stories, because they have that in their books. So maybe they can think now that what you're telling them is the true message, so they can follow you. لعلهم يتفكرون. طيب. And some other narration would say لعلهم يتفكرون, meaning they be warned that if they go the wrong way that they may have the same fate that Bil'am had. طيب. And when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala concludes with ساء مثلا للقوم الذين كذبوا بآياتنا, it's a bad example. He's referring to the example of the dog. Yani that's a bad example that they would end up being like if they disbelieve in the message that we are sending. I think we can just, inshallah, leave it at that today, and we can, inshallah, open up the discussion for the remaining few minutes. So, anybody has a commentary?